Long Island medium Theresa Caputo recently visited her ex-husband, Larry Caputo's home with her family. However, upon arriving there, Larry Caputo's second wife, Connie Talley, was unprepared to see Theresa. His anger soon turned to excitement and he insulted Theresa and threw her out of the house. Theresa Caputo had always been the center of attention in her family, especially when it came to her unique ability to communicate with spirits. But recently, the air around her seemed heavier, filled with tension. It had been years since her divorce from Larry, but family gatherings have remained awkward. Yet a recent phone call from Larry, asking if she and her family could visit him at his home, left Theresa intrigued. What could it mean? With her children in tow, Theresa set off with her family, unsure of what to expect. She hadn't seen Larry in months, and the relationship was still a touchy subject. But when they arrived, a sense of foreboding hung in the air. As they pulled up to Larry's house, it was clear that things weren't as they used to be. The once familiar house now seemed slightly altered. Upon walking through the door, Theresa was met with the surprised and cold expression of Larry's second wife, Connie Talley. Connie hadn't been expecting Theresa. She had never met the vibrant, outspoken woman who had once been Larry's wife, and the sudden appearance of Theresa in her home left her speechless. The air became thick with unspoken words as Connie's discomfort grew. "Theresa, what are you doing here?" Connie managed to ask, her voice thin and cautious. Larry stepped into the room, and his eyes scanned the situation. The anger in his expression was clear at first, but it shifted quickly, almost as if the discomfort of the moment was too much to bear. He let out a short laugh, but it wasn't one of amusement. It was more a bitter chuckle. "You brought her here." He spat at Connie, motioning toward Theresa. "What was I thinking?" Before anyone could react, Larry's anger erupted. "Get out of here, Theresa. What do you think this is? Some kind of joke?" he yelled, pointing toward the door. "You've ruined enough of my life already. Just leave us in peace." Connie, visibly shaken by the outburst, stood frozen, unsure whether to intervene. But Theresa, unshaken by his anger, looked at him with a mix of disbelief and sorrow. "Larry," she said calmly, her voice steady, "I didn't come here to cause trouble. I just wanted to see the family, to be a part of things, for the sake of the kids." But Larry wasn't listening. He was caught in his own whirlwind of emotions, and the old wounds reopened. "Leave now," he ordered, his tone leaving no room for negotiation. "You don't belong here anymore." With a heavy heart, Theresa turned to walk out, but as she reached the door, she paused. She glanced back one last time at Larry, and then at Connie, who now seemed like a pawn caught in a game she never signed up for. "I hope one day you'll understand," Theresa said softly before stepping out, leaving behind a house filled with lingering tension, broken promises, and lost connections. Outside, Theresa's family waited, unsure of what had just transpired. Theresa's gaze lingered for a moment on the house, wondering if healing would ever come, or if the rift between them would be permanent. As she drove away, she could feel the weight of the past lifting, but she knew the road ahead would be complicated, filled with both regrets and the hope that one day, perhaps, they could all find a way to move forward. However, Theresa Caputo, the renowned Long Island medium, was preparing for a special reading that afternoon, one that was unlike any other. The setting was calm and serene, the sun just beginning to set, casting a soft golden light through the window. As she adjusted her chair, she couldn't help but feel a bit more excitement than usual. Today, she wasn't just meeting a regular client. She was meeting Wayne Brady, the famous actor, comedian, and host of Let's Make a Deal. Wayne had always been a skeptic when it came to the supernatural, but recently he had experienced a few moments he couldn't explain. Strange feelings, subtle whispers in the air, and a connection to someone he lost years ago. After a conversation with a friend who swore by Theresa's abilities, Wayne decided to give it a try, even if it meant confronting his own doubts. As he entered the room, Theresa stood to greet him with her signature warm smile. "Wayne, it's such a pleasure to meet you," she said, gesturing for him to sit across from her. Wayne, ever the performer, couldn't hide a nervous chuckle. "Thanks for having me, Theresa. Let's see what happens. I'm open to it, but I've got my doubts." Theresa's eyes softened as she settled into her chair. "That's okay, Wayne. I'll tell you what I get. Just be open to the messages." With a deep breath, Theresa closed her eyes, her face becoming still. She raised her hand, as if reaching for something invisible. The room grew quieter, and Wayne could almost feel the temperature shift. Theresa opened her eyes and looked at him. "Your father's here," she said softly. "He's standing right beside you. He wants you to know that he's proud of the man you've become." Wayne's heart skipped a beat. He'd never told anyone about the conversation he had with his father years ago, just before he passed away. That's impossible," he whispered, his voice shaky. "How did you know?" Theresa smiled gently. "The spirits know, Wayne. They always know." Wayne sat back in his chair, stunned. He hadn't said anything about his father to Theresa, no hint, no mention. The things she was saying were too specific, too personal. "I've been struggling with some decisions lately, especially in my career," Wayne admitted, his voice wavering. "It feels like I need guidance, but I haven't been sure where to turn." Theresa nodded, her gaze steady. "Your father says you've always had the answers inside you, Wayne. He wants you to trust your instincts. Stop doubting yourself. You have the strength to make the right choices." Tears welled up in Wayne's eyes, and for a moment, he was speechless. The weight of everything he had been holding in seemed to lift, as if his father's words were exactly what he needed to hear. As the reading continued, Theresa relayed more messages from Wayne's loved ones, some expected, others surprising. His grandmother appeared, sending him love and encouragement. A childhood friend who had passed away tragically had messages of healing for Wayne's heart. When the reading finally concluded, Wayne was overwhelmed. I don't know what to say," he admitted, his voice cracking with emotion. "This was incredible. I'm not a believer, but I don't know how you could have known all of this." Theresa's smile was kind and understanding. "You don't have to believe in everything, Wayne. But know this, your loved ones are always with you. They're guiding you, even when you don't realize it." Wayne stood, his heart lighter than it had been in years. He shook Theresa's hand, a newfound respect in his eyes. "Thank you, Theresa. This was life-changing." As he left the room, he couldn't shake the feeling that in that quiet moment with Theresa, he had experienced something beyond the ordinary. Maybe it wasn't about believing or not believing. Maybe it was just about feeling that connection, that love that never truly disappears. And for the first time in a long while, Wayne Brady felt at peace. However, Theresa Caputo, known for her unique ability to communicate with the spirit world, had always felt a deep connection to her late grandmother. Growing up, her grandmother was a source of comfort and love, guiding her through life's challenges with wisdom and warmth. Little did Theresa know, her grandma's presence would play a significant role in her work as a medium. One peaceful evening, after a long day of readings, Theresa was sitting quietly in her living room. The air felt charged with energy, and she could sense that something was about to happen. As she closed her eyes to relax, she heard a soft, familiar voice, her grandma's voice. "Theresa," the voice whispered, clear and loving, "it's time for you to receive a special gift." Theresa opened her eyes, her heart racing. "Grandma, is that really you?" she whispered, almost afraid to believe it. Her grandmother's spirit appeared before her, as clear as day, standing in the doorway of the room. Theresa could see the same warm, kind smile that had always been there, and it comforted her instantly. "I've been watching over you," Grandma said, her eyes twinkling. "You've helped so many people find peace, but it's your turn now. I want to give you something that will remind you of our bond and help you when you need guidance." Theresa's eyes filled with tears as she gazed at her grandmother's spirit. "What is it, Grandma?" she asked, her voice shaking. Without saying another word, Grandma raised her hand, and a soft, melodic hum filled the room. Theresa's breath caught in her throat as she realized it was a song her grandmother used to sing to her when she was a child. It was a simple lullaby, but the love and warmth it carried were undeniable. "This song," her grandmother said, "is a piece of my soul. Whenever you feel lost, whenever you need to connect with me or find clarity, sing it. Let the song guide you and bring you peace." Theresa, overwhelmed with emotion, nodded, feeling the weight of the gift her grandmother had just given her. "Thank you," she whispered, her heart full of gratitude. With that, her grandmother smiled one last time before fading away, leaving Theresa with the gentle echo of the song in her mind. From that day forward, whenever she needed comfort or clarity, Theresa would sing that special song, feeling her grandmother's love and guidance surrounding her, helping her on her journey as a medium. However, one chilly evening in Long Island, as the sun began to dip beneath the horizon, Sam found himself sitting on his porch, sipping a cup of coffee. His thoughts were heavy, as they often were lately. His older brother, Alex, had passed away unexpectedly a few months ago, and Sam couldn't shake the feeling that there were words left unsaid. He missed his brother terribly, and no matter how much time passed, the emptiness in his heart remained. One day, Sam's friend told him about Theresa Caputo, the renowned Long Island medium, someone who could communicate with spirits from the other side. At first, Sam dismissed it. How could someone truly talk to the dead? But the idea stuck with him. He felt a strange pull to reach out and perhaps hear from Alex one last time. What harm could it do? He booked a session with Theresa and nervously waited for the day to arrive. When the day finally came, he walked into Theresa's office. The room was calming, filled with soft lights and peaceful energy. Theresa, with her vibrant blonde hair and warm demeanor, greeted him with a gentle smile. There was something about her presence that made him feel comfortable, as if he were already at home. As they began, Theresa sat across from Sam, her eyes closing briefly as if to connect to something beyond the physical world. After a moment, she spoke. "I'm getting a man's energy coming through. He feels like he's part of your family, someone you were very close to. He's telling me his name, Alex." Sam's heart skipped a beat. The hairs on the back of his neck stood up. It felt like Alex was right there in the room with him. Theresa continued, "He says he's sorry for the way things ended, that he never had the chance to say goodbye. He's been watching over you, and he wants you to know that he's okay. He tells me he's proud of you for how strong you've been, but most of all, he says he loves you." Tears welled up in Sam's eyes as he listened. It felt like Alex was speaking directly to him from beyond the veil. He could almost hear his brother's voice in his mind, comforting him, reassuring him that everything was going to be okay. "He wants you to keep living," Theresa added, looking directly into Sam's eyes. "He says there's so much life ahead for you. He doesn't the sadness. Live for both of you, not just for him. He's with you in spirit every day." Sam nodded, overwhelmed with emotion. The grief he had carried for so long felt lighter, somehow. He knew his brother was at peace, and that knowledge brought him a sense of closure he didn't even realize he needed. As the session came to an end, Theresa smiled softly. "Alex is at peace now, and so are you." Walking out of the office, Sam felt a wave of calm wash over him. He had received the message he needed, and with it, a new sense of healing had begun. Hello lovely viewers, welcome to my channel. I am Mina. Hope your day is so well. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel.